Denyo Gandonu Matthew Epunoluwa is a Lagos-based creative entrepreneur, brand strategist, and visionary youth mentor whose work is touching lives across the globe. Though originally trained as a mechanical engineer, Denyon discovered that his true calling was creativity, expression, and transformation. Today, he wears many hats: professional photographer, brand identity designer, media consultant, public speaker, coach, and author. With over a decade of impact driven work in Nigeria, the UK, and beyond. Denyon is the convener of the Denyon Movement, a faith-rooted initiative designed to help young people unlock their potential, discover purpose, and live intentionally. Through arms like the Denyon Summer Bootcamp, the Denyon School Tour, the Denyon Institute, and the Denyon Community, he has mentored thousands of teenagers and young adults, equipping them with creative skills, growth strategies, and a future-focused mindset. This movement has grown into a thriving ecosystem of communities, events, lifestyle products, and learning platforms that are shaping tomorrow's leaders today. He is also the author of Own 2025 Vision Mapping Handbook, a practical guide that has sold hundreds of copies and continues to inspire young people to set goals and take action towards their future. Dion's mantra, "do everything you one day need," has evolved from a personal philosophy into a global creed. It is inspiring young dreamers across borders to rise above limitation, embrace their gift, and make meaningful impact. Beyond his work, Dion is a proud husband and father, roles he considers the greatest privilege of his life. His family remains both his anchor and his daily reminder that legacy begins at home. Whether through creative consultancy, community building, or public speaking, Denyon continues to model what it means to live boldly, serve faithfully, and grow intentionally. His vision is to raise a generation of globally minded, purpose driven young people who will transform nations and industries for good. The Life Shapers Circle. Can we make welcome our very own Daniel Gandono?
Foundation of their lives. Building something for themselves and it's change the trajectory of things and change narrative that surround it so that they can do better and be better for themselves and not just for themselves, but for the generation. It's such a great place to be here and let's see many family faces here. Many of my best friends are here. I will exhaust the time to stand in front of you. I also want to appreciate my very strong Daniel community, inclusive as some of you here. Thank you guys for coming. Okay, thank you for that great introduction. It was kind of funny. And let me just say that you are one friend that I value. I'm not saying it because I'm public, but because of how intentional you are and how much energy it takes yourself and all that is yours. When I mean all that is yours, your family, also friends, your friends from way back, how you celebrate us, how you push us. And I will not stop saying that if not for you, I'm not sure I'm going to be here. I'm not sure for this person will tell you who I am. Because if you want to solve first, what I saw in myself. And even when, I was in an environment where that was going to be shifted, you stood for me. Everybody I understand. But let me just give you this backstory. So in fellowship that year, before when you join the workforce as a fresher or even as a fresher, the executives of the fellowship conduct a mini interview. Then you get to give what you get an assessment form. You fill the form where you give the interest, your interest, the department you want to do. So because I was coming from home and from home, I was in evangelism and prayer department. So while filling the form, I signed up for evangelism and prayer department. And while I was sitting in front of the panel, the evangelism coordinator at the time and prayer coordinator, so I signed that no, they are the ones that will get the you have to know most join evangelism and prayer department. And I'm just excited. And on that instead of saying, no, you cannot just ask yourself what was creating the environment and bench. And even while she was fighting for me, I didn't know what her problem was. I didn't know why she was crying and down my head like that. Until I joined to the park. My very first opportunity to stand before a crowd and address the crowd or present anything to the crowd was given to me by that department. Kevin was the very first person who put me on the spot and showed me that I have a lot to do that my board is here to listen to. And from there, the rest is history. I went from standing from the leadership to standing before kings, before nations, and before generals like you guys. So please let me to that nation. Let's celebrate this. King of men, not king of boys. You know, you are deeper than the greatest of Kenya and Alright, so that is what personal development is. It simply means becoming more. When I mean more, this more is not MORE. It's MOOOOORE. It's becoming as more and as much as you can. So tonight we are diving deeper into what identity is and why we should discover it. And like Okemi stated there, why discovering and understanding it, discovering and understanding before determining how you grow. And number two, we are also going to simplify personal development. Number three, we're going to identify your values, your strengths, your desire, your base. And lastly, we are going to be measuring our growth together, both our internal alignments and not just activities. So that's what we are going to do. Okay. All right, I was kind of thrown off balance because of the network issue, so it's just me seconds patch myself up. And yeah, so so now let's just go to what I'm going to be talking about today. So I'm going to be speaking to you guys about today into some 7 steps or some 7 cadence or some edits, so to speak. Number one, we're going to start with the problem, right? There's a problem that we're going to solve. And number two, we're going to unravel the misery in self-development itself. Number three, we're going to talk about there's a becoming, the 3 pillars of becoming. And number four, we are going to talk about the understanding of growth. Okay, the understanding of growth. And number five, I'm going to talk about how to give you my personal framework for true personal development. And the personal framework for true personal development. Number six, I'm going to have us conduct an introspection together, a personal development introspection. And lastly, yeah, that will be all. Just 7 things we're going to be doing today. So, without further ado, let's dive into the number one. So, let's start with the problem. The problem, as Okemi put it, is the boss era. The boss era, beyond the boss. And you guys can attest to me that we're in the boss era, we're in the boss generation. Boss, in my own sense, instance, means distraction. That's how I describe or define boss. Because it doesn't happen at the same time. Just like the animals or the insects that the word boss came from, the bees themselves, when you're around the feet of bees, you hardly hear anything because they're everything is just and you are confused. You don't even know what to pay attention to. They are not clear. They are not, you don't hear a song, you don't hear a song, and each of those songs is, some kind of mutation from other individuals within your ecosystem. It could be your friends, your family, your colleagues at work, your children, everybody's getting, a lot done for themselves. And if you're not careful, you'll be caught up in that world because you don't even know what to do. This one's craving your attention. That one is craving your attention. Church is craving your attention. Work is craving your attention. Relationships, a lot of things, care and there. So that's the problem. That people who are intentional about their self-development or personal development, there are lots of bosses or buzzing around them that if they are not careful, they can get lost in the noise of the moment. And you will also agree with me that we live in a generation obsessed with productivity trends. Today there's a trend, tomorrow there's another trend. Today there's a life hack. Somebody saying, oh, 10 ways to do this. Tomorrow somebody saying 20 ways to do this. Another day somebody saying 30 things you must do before you're pressing. Tomorrow somebody saying, if you have not done this, you have not done anything. Somebody say, a lot of suggestions, a lot of teachers, social media age has brought, has kindled the fire of teachers. We are all teachers. That's the generation now living in the generation of aesthetics. People flaunting some kind of lifestyle and making us feel like maybe if you're not living some certain way, you are not living, the aesthetic generation. The online routines, content creation, that if you're not on social media, you're not alive, either you're a 9 to 5 worker or you're online routine. Surface level puzzle, surface level puzzle. Somebody, flaunts their cars in your face, does the things that you wish you are doing, but you are not there yet. You just see people doing it so effortless that you be like, what? And these people living in another generation or on another planet rather than mine. People just rubbing their services in your face every moment. You turn on social media, you turn on WhatsApp, you see somebody celebrating something, you turn on Instagram, you see somebody saying something. A lot. If you're not just looking, you just be lost in the surface level causes. And lastly, motivation without identity. Motivation without identity. Now, but what we must understand is that you cannot build what you have not first become. You cannot build what you have first not become. So many of the wars is around people who try to pose themselves as people who have become what they are building. That is why you see many influencers go under the knife of scrutiny when people say, oh, or how do you know what personal development is? Personal development is you trying to do everything. Okay, some 5, 7 years ago, some of us were in school, or we're either taking degree course, a polytechnic course, a diploma course that qualified many of us to be either they are in office, corporate world, or in the entrepreneurial world. Some 5 years ago, some 7 years ago, some 8 years ago, they find where we are now. So personal development is as simple as that. It's simply saying that, okay, what do I need to do today that will take me to where I want to be tomorrow? So doing everything you want in my own words is simply personal development. But what we need to realize is that you cannot do everything you want daily if you are not the kind of person who can carry the weight of the future you desire. And that is what makes personal development very, very simple and very, very interesting. Sorry. You cannot become, or you cannot even do everything you want daily if you have not become the kind of person who can carry the weight of the future you desire. So for people who don't know personal development, they think it's just some game you can opt into and come out from. They think it's something you can do part-time. They think it's something you can do today and not do tomorrow. They think it's something you can do whenever you feel like. But no. Personal development is a very jealous thing. It's a one-legged shoe. It's either you are in or you are out. You cannot say, okay, I want to do it part-time. You cannot say, I want to do self-development today and tomorrow I'll take a break. It's a constant and consistent journey. And that is why you cannot jump into doing. That is why Ukemi has invited us all here to come and learn that, okay, how do we discover and understand ourselves even before, we grow? Because growth is desirable. Growth is everybody's desire. Everybody wants to grow. Everybody wants to become. Everybody wants to get some certain. But there are some prerequisites to growing, or to growth rather. And that is what we are going to unraveling today. So, and another interesting thing about self-development is that, it starts within, all right? It starts within before it is seen without. It is thing that is simple. Just efforts that you take, that starts within yourself before people around you or yourself begins to see themselves. Just like bodybuilding, bodybuilding, you don't just go to the gym and say, I want to build muscle today, and you just go there and start lifting dumbbells or carrying weights and just believe that. You must not start with your mind, construct with your mind. Okay, I want to do this, and this is what I'm going to get into. This is my plan. Because if you do not start from the beginning, you will get started and you stop. That is why you see many people dive or dabble into self-development and later they opt out. So, and number 3, So I hope you guys are follow me while I was, trying to connect the dots between, the boss and what personal development is. Anybody or is anybody along the line? I know I was saying a lot at the same time, even I was not there myself. But I just want to be sure that you're able to connect because we have collapsed, we have finished 2 slides of my 7 slides already. I'm already on number two, already. I just finished number 2 slide. I'm just reading to number. But let's be sure that you guys got what we're able to establish with us, what the boss is, and how it makes us as intentional self development, and what personal development really is, at least for my own, definition. I hope you guys were able to, catch that. Now, number three. Number three thing we're going to be talking about is the heart of becoming. Alright? The heart of becoming. This is very, very interesting. And to make us understand this and why this is so important, I've helped us, I broke down into 3 pillars. Okay, let's call it the 3 pillars of the economy. Alright, 3 pillars of the economy. The first pillar we're going to talk about is the identity pillar. Alright, the identity pillar. And the identity pillar rather asks you a simple question: who are you? So you want to take a question, you want to take a moment rather, and just ask yourself that question. Just say, who am I? Who am I? Like, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Am I a photographer? Am I a life coach? Am I a husband? Am I a father? Who am I? So this first pillar is where we get to answer that question and really know, who we are and how we should see ourselves. So we need to know that before the goals, before the trees, and before you even get started, the first thing you need to know is who you are. That is, before you dabble into what self-development is, before you even embark on that journey in the first place, to say that, okay, I'm going on a journey of self-development, you must first ask yourself, who am I? And of course, nobody just wants to develop himself if everything is perfect or if everything is perfect. Many of us that find ourselves in this journey of self-development are people who maybe had a rough start, a not so perfect for breaking, or who were desirous of some things, some benefits, some joy, some happiness, some success, some relationship, some connection, didn't get it. Who were desirous of some kind of knowledge that we were not going to expose. Then we have now found ourselves in that pit that is so shallow or that is so deep that just have to make a decision going forward that for me to come out of this bottomless pit or this pit arrow, I only have one option, and that option is to take myself from where I am or from my destiny to the person that is strong enough to come out of this pit. How you found yourself in that pit? How you found yourself in that family? How you found yourself in that environment? How you found yourself in that field? It might not necessarily be, because not all of us, were so lucky with our upbringing. Not all of us had life so beautiful. Some of us, they won't hear my story. Some of us, just found ourselves where we find ourselves and just had only one option. Just, figure this out. So many people you find on the journey of self-development are people like that. People who desire better, who want better, and who have seen it happening only by the help of God and by intentional efforts. So before you even start chasing those dreams, setting those goals, and before you get started, the first thing you need to know is who are you or who am I? And how do you know who are you? The question you need to ask yourself to help you know who you are is, what is your story? Where are you coming from? I think that's already the book. Where are you coming from? Where are you? And where are you going to? So many people who dive into the journey of self-development without answering this question will find themselves in a real maroon, will find themselves doing the same thing over and over again without getting any results, will find themselves in the rat race, will find themselves in the game of comparison, will find themselves in a pool of low self-esteem. So that's why it's very, very important. Stay on this pillar, this first pillar of becoming and ask yourself, who am I? What's my story? Where am I coming from? What is that thing that has made me see that it's either I develop myself or not? Some people maybe they didn't have parents, sponsors, guidance, guide them through life. And that lets them not enjoy having benefits in life. Or maybe that made them to make some mistakes that further complicated their lives. Some it might be lack of mentorship, it might be lack of support systems, it might be lack of finance, it might be lack of relationship, and it might be lack of circles that are strong enough to divert them into where they want to be. So if your story is that, if that's your story, if lack is your story, if inadequacy is your story, if pain is your story, if heartbreak is your story, if pain, that's the best I can explain it, because all of these things that put us in that pit in the first place can all be sunk into pain. Can you imagine a child who grew up without parents, or who grew up in a dysfunction home, or who grew up in some certain adversary condition that deteriorated their self-belief, their mental well-being. You first need to figure out what your own story is, why you have decided to want to develop yourself, why you have decided that, see, I can't allow life to continue to happen to me this way. For some of us, don't let me go into that. So that's the first question you want to ask yourself on this pillar of becoming. Who am I? And who are you can be? What's my story? What's my narrative? Or what's that trend? What is that thing that happens around me that I don't want to continue to happen around, or that I don't want to pass on to my own generation, which is the I have decided to come, and sign up for self-development. And number two question is, who do you want to become? And how you must have identified who it is or the narrative is. It's not enough to just know what the narrative is, but to know what the story is. Because when people know their story, they have beyond that introspection to see that, okay, this is my problem, this is my problem. But just not as unraveling the story. They have no capacity. They can do absolutely nothing about it. They just know that, okay, the obvious is there, but they don't know what to do. They don't even know who to become. So after you must have asked yourself what am I, the next question you want to ask yourself is, okay, who do I want to become? Okay, that. And number three, what are the things that shapes or that is shaping this decision? Because I can remember for the longest time, I didn't even know, I didn't have the wisdom to really say what was my story. Even though I knew what my story was, I was caught up in competition. I was in self-development because I wanted to do some people wrong. Because there were some people who had told me in the past that I can never amount to anything in life. So all my motivation was that as the moment I can do this with people wrong, that yes, I'm somebody that I'm fulfilled. But what happened? After I put those people wrong, I felt emptiness in my spirit. I felt like, no, there's still more. Okay, I've achieved, I've broken all the records in my family, I've done all that my dad could not do, all my mom could not do, all my siblings could not do. But then there still feels some emptiness within me. So you must know what is shaping your decision. Are you going for pressure or under purpose? I think that's where this starts. And I also want to ask you guys some big questions. Some big questions for this first pillar of becoming. On your journey to becoming, you also want to ask yourself that who are you when nobody is applauding you? See, I'll be an hypocrite to say that self-development is interesting. It's a lonely journey. Yes, it's a lonely journey. But on my own journey, I have a team. I have my cheerleaders, my wife, my daughter. I have a lot of children. So they are the ones that makes me, enjoy my own journey of self-development. My parents, for instance. My parents, my siblings, everybody loving me. Oh, damn, we know what you're doing. You're good, go for it. It makes it very interesting. But you also need to ask yourself is that who are you on those days nobody's applauding? Because sometimes we all need some level of motivation, on the journey. Someone to push you, pass your back, rub your feet. But who are you on those days? And the second question I was going to ask you is, who are you without achievements? Because we all know that we started this journey of self-development because we wanted to, achieve something, set some record straight, correct some narratives, and maybe live life better, or maybe look for ourselves things that nobody will do for us. And there is some noise. I think some of you think they are going to say, yeah, this is starting. Yeah, yeah. The journey, the goal is to become better. And there's no how you become better and life will be better for you. And you have to say everybody is self-development and say, no, I'm not doing it to lie. We all want to be better. We want to be more comfortable. But now you have to ask yourself that. You have to always ask yourself that. What happens when you're on that journey and those achievements are not coming? So the first question is, who are you when God is applauding? The second, who are you without the achievements? And number three, who are you outside social media? Who are you outside social media? Because social media is what makes self-development interesting now. Okay, all the records I've been able to break for myself. It's easy for me to tell the story. It's easy for me to track them because I have my social media footprints. Everything I do, or most of the things I do, I put online. So it's from those online, interactions they get their applause, the parts of the back and all of that. But is it can you do self-development without social media? Can you say that okay, nobody, let's even leave social media, without being social, can you do it entirely in isolation? For instance, since my last birthday, I decided to, hit the gym. So I created a gym for myself in the house and I started gym. And it's been about 1 or 2 weeks now. And um, come on, I don't want to go my clothes. If I go my clothes, people will run away from me. But then what I'm trying to say is that I've tried it before. I think it was 1 or 2 years ago that I wanted to start journey. The first thing I did was take a Polaroid of myself, take a picture, I went online, I shared it with a few friends or so. But, that was what gave me the excitement. But I'm not sure I went too far, some 2 or 1 year ago. But for the past 2 weeks, I've been doing this thing by myself. Nobody even knows. The only person that knows that I'm, I'm, I'm Jimmy is Okemi's husband. Because he was the one that inspired me when he started his own gym. He was the only person I know. And I didn't want to tell him because I wanted to show him that I was Jimmy. I just wanted to show him that, he's my mentor and I'm taking lessons properly from him. And I needed guidance. I didn't want to do gym the wrong way. So I just wanted to guide him. So sometimes self-development, is interesting because of social media. Oh, somebody says they are reading a book, somebody says they are eating the gym, somebody says they are making a course, somebody says, but who are you when there's no social media? So now let's go to the second pillar. The first pillar is your identity. The second pillar is your values. What do you stand for? Why? Why are you doing this personal development? What are you trying to achieve? What are you trying to, what are you trying to meet? What do you stand for? Now, your values determine number one, your decisions. Number two, your boundaries and your consecrations. Number three, your relationships. Number four, your peace. And number five, your future. So while you are journeying through personal development, or before you journey into personal development, you must know what are your decisions, what are your boundaries. Your decisions are the things that maybe led you to personal development and will sustain you while you continue to develop yourself. Okay, your decision can be started by your story, your adversities, your advances. Yes, I say adversaries because some of us we do personal development because of adversaries. I'll give you an example. Have you seen a lady beat the gym before? And they ask you, oh, why are you gymming? You say, oh God, wherever James is, it will never be well with James. It was because of James I hit the gym, and I want to prove to that young man that I'm beautiful. He said I'm obese. He said I'm fat. He said my body is big. Some people, their decision for hitting the gym, for prioritizing their health because they want to do their ex rights. Some people, their decision for starting an entrepreneurial business is because they wanted to grow the company that sacked them wrong. And I'll get there. So you must know decisions. So when you know your decisions, you know your boundaries, you know what the excesses are, you know why you're doing this, and you know what your consequences are. You know you cannot do everything everybody that are this development to do because people are doing a lot. People you know what to do and what not to do, right? Then you know the relationships that you need on that journey. Like I said before, as opposed to being a part of the plan, as opposed to this people to scrutinize us to say, hey, no. We need a healthy sample, just like this life sample. We need a healthy sample that can checkmate us. So that is what the second pillar is about. Then you also need to know your pace. You need to know your pace. How fast do you want to go on this journey? Do you want to move as fast as other people? Or you want to move slower than other people? Do you need the speed of a cheetah? Or you need just the pace of a tortoise? So when you know what your pace is, you will not look at somebody else's wristwatch while trying to do your own personal development. You will not look at what Mr. A is doing. You will not be comparing yourself with other people. Okay, can you show that picture of those carrot plants? Those carrot plants beneath the soil. Let us make a pictorial pictorial view of what I'm talking about. Yes, this picture. I think we have all seen this picture. Okay, just leave it there, even though I'm not putting it. But then let us look at this picture. So your future, you are the one who knows where you are going. You are the one who knows the road that will lead you there. As Rome once said, if you don't know where you are going, any road will lead you there. For instance, you are traveling from people to Ibadan, and you don't know the road. You don't ask people advice. If somebody say, go and pass here to you, go and pass it. Somebody say, no, go and pass by that, go and pass by that. But if you know where you are going, you know that even from people, you can take the direct bus to Ibadan. So many people on the journey of self-development are just, following other people's space, following other people's, suggestions. You don't know where they are going. They don't even know where they are going. So they are not even define their place because they don't know where they are going. So it is where you are going that decides how fast you want to speed up your treadmill. You want to take the speed up to 20, or you want to take it to 5. So I must know that doing without values lead to achievement without fulfillment. So this second pillar teaches you decision, boundaries and consequences, relationships, base and future, because you want to achieve something at the end, which is not just mere achievement, which is not just mere attention, but which is something that will give you a sense of fulfillment. And that sense of fulfillment does not come with how big you achieve. Even if you achieve, you're able to plant one grain of rice. You are contented, you are fulfilled. You can say that yes, I appreciate people that are harvesting 10 bags of rice, but I also appreciate the effort that went into producing this one grain of rice. So, and I'm talking about base, talking about future. Let me just quickly say this. Since my last birthday, I tried to take a break from everything that I am and that I represent. In fact, Okemi is one of the few people that has the power to bring me out to come and speak. Because I decided that for a while, I'm just going to be on the ground and create the structure around all that I want to see happen for me in this new chapter of my life. And I was not going to come online until I was done. In fact, I was invited recently to Badagry to come and speak. I could have gone, but I saw that it was against what I wanted to do for myself at the moment. So I had to tell them I'm sorry, I'll not be able to come. But because of Okemi, I had to come out of the diet. I said that to say that, I know where I'm going. It was in the past, I used to feel like I always have to show up, even though it's good to always show up. But sometimes I also realize that wisdom requires you to step back from the state once in a while and refresh yourself. So when you know what your values are, you will know when to take a break. When people are running, it's like a marathon. There's a time you run fast, there's a time you slow down. When people are still running, you don't slow down because you know that, when you are chasing this thing, what other people are chasing. So now to the third pillar before we leave number 3 points, your pace. your reading of life. There's a speed that matches your destiny. The world says move fast, but wisdom says move and line. And every destiny has custom pace. Rushing can break you, but alignment will build you. Now think of Joseph's story. Joseph could face to his future. He was on a journey of self-development. He was going from his family to prison, and in prison, even before he got to the prison, there was an open check in front of him. That was Potiphar's wife. If he did what Potiphar's wife wanted him, he would have easily become the leader of his master's house. But no, he chose to slow down and go through the longer routes. And we all know what that got into. He got into the bigger, better, and even more comfortable space. So what you want to know is that on your journey to self-development, there are corners. You can cross corners. You can bypass, you can do some things that will just help you see 10 years of waiting. But if you know what you're trying to do, you will know how to journey to that destination. Now let's go to number 4 because of our time. I have less than 15 minutes. Number 4. For you to really understand what personal development is, you need to come to the new understanding of growth. Alright? You need to come to the new understanding of growth. Or maybe you already know the new understanding of growth, but let's just remind ourselves. You don't want to be like me. Somebody who was thinking that growth is about doing many things. Being here, being there, they're not there, doing this, doing that. You will burn out, you will crash out. And even when you die, maybe they'll just warn you for one day. You'll move on to another. So you have to learn what self-development really means and what the real growth mindset is. So how do you know that? You must know what growth is and what growth is not. Let's itemize a few things that growth is not. Growth is not about how busy you look. And personal development, of course, is not about how busy you look. It's not about, oh, that guy is always busy. Oh, if you call this one, they will never be because he's always busy. It's not all busy people that developing themselves. Some are just wasting time. Some are just doing a lot and not really showing for it. So you must know that growth is not about how busy you look. Number 2, growth is not about how many projects you are doing. It's not about how many courses you are taking. It's not about, oh, they are taking Power BI courses now. Let me to go and take it. Oh, they are taking this course now. Let me to go and take it. They're just taking. Growth is not about that. It's about sticking to what works for you. Even if it's just one course. Don't stick to that one course. It's that Yoruba should say that when a good things or a plant is rather, take the mental as most points one course. They even have a situation for it, they're just doing it. Number 3, growth is not about how many skills you are collecting. And I wrote these 2 beautiful ones down. Growth is not about what people want you to do or what people think you should be doing. Many people are doing what they are doing today. And once you can create your own steps, to get the discovering and understanding you before determining how you grow. So, what is not what people want you to become, what people want you to do. You can see a picture of success is not what people see. Then you can bring a picture of those people mining diamonds. Those people mining diamonds. You can see while you are busy, on your own journey, trying to discover yourself. Somebody else will show you a little success. Just like Messi, for instance. You want to become wealthy, and you say you want to do banking and finance. Now go to job as a banker. Then after about 3 months, you have still not made money. Maybe after about 3 years, you have not become wealthy. You now saw a friend that's doing forex. So this guy that's holding small diamond is like a friend that's doing forex. Because he now saw, oh, this guy does forex in like 2 weeks, and he made a lot of money. You now dump your own career and now start doing forex. You do forex again, 3 months, you never say anything. Somebody said, hey, it's half-place market. You don't have this, you don't forex again. Go and do half-place market. What are you doing? You are doing personal development based on what you do. Oh, everybody's saying, oh, the new cool is trading. So it made me to also like trade. I'm speaking from experience. I've done all of that before. That's on my hand. So that's not something. That's not. And the last one is that Growth is not about what other people are doing for themselves. I think it's one of the things I said before. It's not about, oh, what these people are doing. We went to the same school. Well, now this is what you are doing. Maybe if I know what you are doing, that is not growth. Now, what's growth? Growth is how I like it, how connected you feel to what you are doing. Like I remember when I said I was just photography, everybody thought I was crazy because the photography graphic design was a lazy people, was things that they considered was done by people that don't have the future. But now I've seen best graduate students come to me in photography and I'm doing well in photography. So growth is how aligned you feel with what you're doing. Number two is how you handle pressure. Even when the whole world is saying, no, you are insane, you are crazy, you are stupid, see what your mates are doing, is it what you want to do for the rest of your life? Growth is how you handle that pressure and you stick with it. Number three, growth is the decisions that you make, the decisions you now make consciously. That's growth. Not just the ones that come to you by hearsay, not just that they're screen on social media, somebody says something and you just became your mantra. No. They are those decisions that you take consciously because they have seen your story, they have seen where you are coming from, they have seen your values, and you know where you are going to. Number four, growth is the things that you no longer force. The things that come to you naturally because you already know where you are going. Number five, the principles you now live by. These are my own principles. Do everything you want daily. What's your own principle? What's that thing that pushes you? Number six, the version of yourself that you are becoming. That's what growth is. Saying who you want to become, not what other people are becoming, not what people are telling you that you can become. And lastly, how at peace you feel with yourself, even when all your plans are not aligning. That's growth. How at peace you feel with yourself, even when you have tried, you are failing, but you still believe in that process and you decide to stick with it because you know that is the only bridge that will let you to the future. Many people don't have that peace in personal development. They don't have that peace. They are caught up in that box. They think they have that peace today. Tomorrow they somebody do something. They jump to it. That peace is the core of why we are here. Number five. My personal framework for true personal development. I'm going to teach you how I through personal development. Maybe you can, if you find a model useful, maybe you can deploy it. It is called BATP, bad or bad this way. BATP. BATP. What's the first thing? Number one, become. And how do you become? Becoming is by knowing who you are, knowing your story, knowing that you cannot live life the way somebody else's son is living life. There was a time I used to compare myself to one of my friends. This guy just bought this guy just bought this guy just did this, this guy just did that. Guys, you know what I did not know? That guy is the last one of his family. He had about two or three elder siblings. One is in the United Arab, one is still where, in Illinois. The guy, so you know that it was his elder brothers that were funding his life. Me, I was now complete that I'm just living my own life. I'm now comparing myself to me. So because I already now, it was when I now reminded myself that, you remember that you know where you are coming from. You don't have other brothers. You don't have, it's not like they are trying to build a life from scratch. That's why I said, so I've been comparing my own becoming to somebody else's becoming. So you have to know who you are, what your value is, and what matters to you. That is the first step to true personal development. Number two, alignment. Let live your life. No, sorry. Let your life, your habits, your relationships, your friends, your work, your spiritual life match your identity. On your journey to self-development, be transparent. Let people know who you stand for or what you stand for. Let them know where you are. Let them know this is your day and this is your day. Don't be confused. Don't be here today, you are there tomorrow. Besides confusing people, you confuse yourself. So align your life, your habits, your friends, your work, your spiritual life to match your identity. Number three, B is become, A is align. 6 minutes ago. D is true. Number three, true. From alignment, take action. Not random action, but necessary action. What are necessary actions you need to take you from where you are coming from to where you want to be? And lastly, to the last, become a king. See, there's something interesting about personal development. The moment you stop becoming, start what you are cut off from everything you are trying to do. You never get to a point where you feel, oh, I have become. Oh, well, because being was the first thing they don't do us to do. Then I have become now. After I became, I aligned. After I aligned, I started doing. After I started doing, I started doing again. Why do you have to come? Why do you have to become again? No, you must become everything. Becoming is introspection. Becoming is like taking yourself back to where you began, where you started. Reminding yourself why you started. Never lose, the beginning, even though your eye is on the end. Never forget your own beginnings. Always conduct an introspection. Always recycle. Always become. Those people that stop becoming and those people who stop developing. So the becoming is a continual, consistent, and renewal process. And number six, which is the last one, so to speak, is the personal development introspection. I'm going to make this into a poll. I copied this poll from my community because I made a poll about some months ago, for my community members on how they can experience growth. Questions they can ask themselves. And I will tell them to make this poll on our community so that we can take the boxes. So it should be a checkbox. So the personal development introspection, I call it an assessment test. Now, this test is now going to check everything that we're talking about from this morning, from the boards to what personal development is, to the pillars, to to your alignments, to your whatever. So the first thing you want to ask yourself is, am I willing to change a habit, a attitude, or a lifestyle that has held me back? Am I willing to change a habit, a attitude, a lifestyle that has held me bound? Many people cannot do self-development or cannot experience the kind of development they want to experience because they are held bound by habits, by attitude, and by certain lifestyle. Most of those lifestyles were picked up on the road. They saw people do this, they picked it up. They saw it in the lives of people, they copied it. So for you to really, make way or make a plan out of your own personal development, you must just ask yourself, do I have habits, attitude, or lifestyle that I need to track? Number two, am I willing to be patient and slowly evolve into what I'm becoming? Am I willing to be patient and slowly evolve into what I'm becoming? Because self-development takes a lot of patience. It's not LLM. It's not something you start today and you see yourself tomorrow. It has its modules. You will fall down, you will cry. You will cry, you will find, only you will cry, only you will tell yourself sorry. So you must be willing to say, will I be patient and slowly evolve into what I am becoming? Number three question you need to ask yourself is, will I be willing to forgive myself and rise from the past failures and mistakes I've made? Many of us have made some mistakes that is preventing us from growing. Some people don't even want to grow at all because they consider that mistake a wrecking ball. I have a friend. Oh, don't let me go into that. Don't let me go into that. But okay, she got pregnant while she was in school of nursing. And that decision almost wrecked her. And I also had a friend while we were in school who got pregnant. And that pregnancy almost wrecked her. Thank God she had a circle of friends who spoke to her, who encouraged her, and who were there for her. That's why it's important that you have a son. So if you are not willing to forgive yourself for the past mistakes that you have made and the past failures that you have experienced, self-development is not going to work for you. Number four, are you willing to adapt to your norm and push through any obstacles? If you want to be the redefining generation that gets it right, generation that changes things, you must know that you get stones. You want to break the national balance, you go pray. They will come from the village. But you must be willing to say that once I pick this plan, I'm not going to drop it again. And number 5, are you willing to be humble, to learn without fear, and to apply everything you learn? See, this humility can be a major setback of self-development. Because imagine somebody that will take you from point A to point C is somebody that when you were in SS3 was in SS1, and that person now moves you to your next level. You'll be willing to submit to that person to say, please, guide me on this journey. Will you be willing to learn without fear? And will you be willing to not just learn but apply everything you learn on this journey? Number 6, will you stop comparing yourself with others and start focusing on your strengths and stop feeling your weaknesses? Comparison. You can see all these pictures have been painted since morning are pictures of comparison. The only enemy to self-development is comparison. Comparison. The moment you start looking at other people, you can see. Meanwhile, I was telling one of my friends that most of the influencers, those so-called influencers who follow online, most of us have better lives than them. The quality of our lives is better than them. But because they are showing us what we want to see, we drop all our own goodness and subscribe to their nonsense. Some of them have very, very, very toxic lifestyle. Some of them beat their wives. Some of them beat their children. Some of them, they do a lot of things that are just. But because of comparison, we don't think we have something that other people can learn. So we drop all the best in ourselves, just learn from people, don't even go. And lastly, number 7, are you willing to build more healthy connections and break away from unhealthy relationships? Everything that makes sense is money points to having good friends around you, having the right support system. If you don't have the right people around you, self-development will be frustrating because you cannot do it all by yourself. As much as it's a lonely journey, once in a while you need to look beside you and hear feedback from your friends, people that are like minds. And one extra I'll add to it is, are you willing to prioritize your health, your wellness, and your body? For the longest time, guys, for the longest time, I have been an hypocrite. I am this guy who tells people, do everything you want daily, do everything you want daily. But I'm the one who does not sleep. I will not sleep in the night. My wife will cook in the kitchen in the morning before she leaves for work. And sometimes I will not eat something because she comes back and goes to the kitchen and breakfast and goes to my day. Because why? I think I'm developing myself, I'm working. And I want to make money. And I want to do this. I'm killing myself. So after my last video, I said, there you go. No. Enough is enough. I started prioritizing my well-being, my health. I will eat well. I will drink enough water. I will drink enough water. I will sleep very well. Because of the Spanish saying that mensana in corpora sano. Mensana in corpora sano. What that means is that in a sound body rests in sound mind. So if you are not prioritizing your body, your health, and you want to do self-development, you are joking. So lastly, number 7. Let's say this affirmation together. Number 7 is very special. So it's nothing. I'm done. I will just set my time. 3 minutes. I go beyond my time. So can we just say this together? You might not be able to complete your mind because I believe that if I want to do together, then I just let's all be patient. So just repeat after me. Today, I commit to becoming not just me. Today, I commit to becoming not just me. I choose alignment over activity. I choose identity over noise. I choose identity over noise. I choose purpose over pressure. I choose purpose over pressure. I'm becoming who I am meant to be. And I will do everything I want to do. Let's take it one more time. Today, I commit to becoming, not just doing. I choose alignment over activity. I choose identity over noise. I choose purpose over pressure. I am becoming all that I am meant to be, and I will do everything I want to do. I don't think this is a good way to end this, but I've ended it. Thank you guys for paying attention. God bless you.
It is a great way of ending this. Wow! I mean, this has really been impactful. Want to go into the chat box and just share how excited you are, and I'm grateful for your conversation. I mean, I literally wrote, I wrote. Because that's one thing with when we attend webinars or you attend meetings and you don't just down, sometimes you lose track of when you even your brain cannot carry everything. You need to now go back and go and watch again. I just by saying that I will also say that this session is that will be live on YouTube from later. It's going to be uploaded on YouTube. Because you know that everything that was said now, you didn't hear everything completely. I must tell you, you didn't hear everything completely. You still need to go back to listen to it again and again for you to really get and juice out everything that has been released. I'll say very thank you. You, my good and dear and amazing dear friend, thank you so very much. I want you to go to the comment section or the chat box. How am I saying comment section? Don't worry, we are going to be streamlining on YouTube very soon. So go to the comment section and share with us what you have learned. And if you have questions that want you to, in the next 30 minutes, I think we have approximately about 25 minutes more. If you have questions, please go to the comment section, the chat section, and just drop those questions there. I mean, thank you so very much. I cannot begin to just share again some of the things I took out from what you shared. Some points we actually really like it's for me and I'm like, oh, I think I've not heard some of those things before. I think I'm like, okay, those about meeting people's expectations about becoming who God has called you to. And you know, over times, why we began our journey, because we are still on that journey, we have often talked about the fact that if anybody is not pursuing personal development, Christians most especially should pursue personal development and growth, the choice, the desire to be better, a better version of who we are called to be. And I want you to just say something on that, right? Why if there's any question, just to break to if you have any question. How that if anybody, and I mean that's my own belief, and I think we've often had conversations about this. If anybody in life is not pursuing personal development, is not pursuing growth, I think Christians are the ones that should know because we put the kingdom at disadvantage when we just choose to remain the way we are. Laying emphasis on this scripture, Romans chapter 7, verse 1, be not conformed to the image of this world, but being you transformed. For me, that word, that verse, being you transformed by the renewal of the mind, I count it as personal development. And this is God saying that, you know what? If anybody's not growing, you should go. You can come the way you are. And that's the way God does with us, right? We can come the way we are. When He doesn't leave us the way we are, there's a transformation that happens in the process. So while you wait for question, I just wanted to portray or say something along that line. Putting it in the perspective of Christian, because yes, this is a faith-based academy. I won't even like, I won't even sugarcoat things because God is the basis, the foundation of it. So I want to just address that. To just give extra push to people here. You're a Christian, you don't put the kingdom of God at disadvantage by choosing to remain who you are.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, everyone. And there's nothing to say. There's no argument on that. Um, who would you say is your father? Who would you say created you? Who would you say gave birth to you? If you're a child of God and you are not giving to self-development, how? How do you connect the dots? Let's even leave God and Jesus now because they are cheats, alright? They are cheats. So people will say, I should look us at gods. Look at all the people that fought for all that we celebrate as Christians. The Bible we read, the letters we read, the scriptures we read that checkmate our attitude. Look at the sacrifices they made. I became all things. I'm not going to say that, but I said I became all things so that I may gain some. I look at that statement and I say I became all things. What it meant was that Apostle Paul was knowledgeable enough to speak to a professor. If if he found himself in the presence of a professor to preach the gospel, that means he had knowledge of books, he had knowledge of time, he was down to earth, you know, he knew philosophy, he knew everything. So we don't have an excuse, so to speak. We don't have an excuse. And it will force everything we represent as Christians. If people look at us and they are not seeing the traits of who our Father is, the Bible will tell us how often Jesus will retreat to the mountain to go pray, to go do those things he does. Why is he doing it? It's because there was a task ahead of him and he needed to prepare himself. So self-development, in fact, is not even a question. It's not even we should not even argue about it because it's a question everything we represent. It's a question everything we represent. We will not even make heaven as Christians without self-development. Yes, because transforming and renewing your mind is a daily, requires daily effort. And is the Bible, or it is Christ or the Bible telling you that you cannot continue with the mindset of yesterday. The Bible also says that you cannot put a new wine into an old wineskin. So as you our journey with God, our desire to wisdom hope. There is something we said. There was one book we read. What's that book? That first book. The Pursuit of God. The Pursuit of God. Why are we doing that? It's self-development. It's self-development because the wisdom of destiny, the knowledge of destiny is not going to be sufficient for tomorrow. So the more we do that, the more we are improving our knowledge of God, the more we are getting better. So now imagine what happens when we put that same energy into our own personal lives. Nobody will even listen to you. I can preach the gospel better, not just because I'm a Christian, not just because I tell people I gave my life to Christ. It's because I can see the elements of those things in my business, in my career, in my skills, in my family. People follow me for different things. People follow me because of my daughter. Some people follow me because of my wife. Some people follow me because of my photography. Some people follow me because of for different things. And they've been able to say that this guy, his even makes me so proud. That's why there's some the same guy. I like that you're a Christian. Because imagine the disaster if you're not a Christian. Imagine the amount of people you decide you will have. So it's a thing of pride when we develop ourselves. God is proud. He's proud. He's proud. Yeah, thank you so very much. We have a question here. Some questions actually. We have 15, less than 15 minutes, or let's say almost 15 minutes to go. But why I allow you to read that question before give the response so that in the next 10 minutes we wrap up. I want to just give a brief report again about the life about the life about the life Shiva said, as you said, we have the academy, which is where the real work of growth is going on. It is not just, and that's why I said earlier that we're not a 90-day cycle, beginning from January. Okay, this session will be wrapping up by December 14th. So you can just watch the space or watch our space beginning from December, mid-December, we start having new intake. Basically, we want to work just 2030 because it is an intentional work, right? It's an intentional work. So we're just talking the 2030. Like I said, it's a non-monetary subscription, but yeah, there's a lot of commitment and it's put in place for you to actually um, become all that God has created you to become. Our mantra is not the way you are, but do not remain the way you are. So I'm going to allow you to read the question, or I'll read the question and I'll answer. It says, what practical daily habits would you recommend for someone trying to grow intentionally? And the second one says, what small actions have made the biggest difference in your own growth journey? All right, thank you. Thank you, Bukola. That's a very useful question. But I must say that your question is relative. Why are you relative? I don't even know what you are moving on. Do you understand? Your question is relative. Relative in the sense that it is peculiar to you. So if I come and say, okay, take this practical daily, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, I'll just be speaking randomly because maybe if you give me a clue, all right, maybe if you give me a clue that, okay, for somebody who is willing to grow in finance, for instance, because personal development is wide, okay, is wide. The prophets that will come after me will do justice to that. All right. I didn't have to go into all of that because I was not asked to speak about that. So the person that will come after will now help us break down what personal development can be, can be trying into the faces, the stress, or whatever. But personal development is wide. So if I now know the area that you want to intentionally grow in, I can make suggestions. I can give you advice that okay, if you want to grow in finance, this is what you should do. But to answer your question, to give you a hack that still fits one size that fits all, is that which is what will answer your second question is be curious. Curiosity. If you are curious about the area you want to grow in, let's say finance, if you are curious in that area, what does that do? It opens you up to asking questions that matters, to looking out for people that you can meet. Okay, who do I need to make friends with? Who do I need to talk to? Where do I need to go? What books do I need to read? That's curiosity. Curiosity helps you say, okay, what can I read that will help me get better at this? Who can I talk to? Who is better at this thing that I'm already doing or that I want to get into that will help me? What events are around this thing I want to do? Then what materials are available? Podcasts, whatever, and then are out there. So curiosity is the hack for everything.
Go and check your workbook. You are working on one workbook for 2 weeks. Go and check it. If you check it, if you digest it, then you'll be able to connect to what you'll be able to connect the dots, right? To further give an explanation or further emphasize some of the things that has been shared today. And I don't want you to miss the webinar for December because we're addressing more on this topic. Now moving to doing. This was focusing on becoming before doing. So please, again, our books. Please don't forget to read your book. Our next book review is next week Friday, 8 p.m. Ensure you show up, ensure you are there. And many of us showed interest for the abuse tracker. There's only 2 people that has filled that workbook, that sheet. If you have not showed interest that you want us to hold you by the end to track some habits, then go and fill that sheet. The link is already in the book. Go and fill that. And this call is going to end in the next 10 minutes. I just want us to say a very quick prayer that God will help us to pay attention to what you are doing in us so that we will not just live for the praise of men, for the applaud of men, for the celebration, oh, we are doing good, oh, we are doing that. But help us to pay attention to what you are doing in us. Pay attention to the things or the works you are doing within us, inside of us, the deep work we are doing in the name of Jesus. Can we say it? Make the declaration that Lord help us pay attention. Silence the noise in my heart. And I started saying that again this evening. That just keep coming to my heart, Lord. Silence the noise in my heart so that I can actually pay attention to what you are doing. I can actually pay attention to the deep work you are doing in me. In the name of Jesus. It will not just be about the applaud, what people are saying, the celebration, oh, we are doing this, a pat on the back by people. Oh, God Himself is not saying something about the things that we are doing. Help me to silence the noise in my heart. I won't grow or I won't pursue growth because of the noise, because of the applause. Remember what we initially shared that most people confuse what personal development with noise. That is not what we want to do. It's about becoming someone with clarity. Self-awareness is personal development. Strong value, alignment is personal development. So can we pray that the Lord help us in the name of Jesus? In Jesus' mighty name, we are prayed. Amen. Thank you so very much. It has been such an exciting 2 hours. So the link to the replay will be shared with us. Ensure you digest this over and over again. Thank you so much, Daniel. I'm so grateful. Thank you so very much. All right, guys. We'll see ourselves in the community. Ensure to go and drop the community most events. Remember those that they show. All right. All right, guys. Thank you so much, and we'll see ourselves again in the month of December. The first in Nassau. All right, guys. Cheers. Bye. God bless you. God bless us. Good night, everyone.